Whew. It is the first week of July, and it has been a little bit of a minute. Had to, get the haircut, trim the beard, get things going a little smooth. Oh, by the way, thank you to my two commenters. Can't quite remember your names at the moment, but I do appreciate the comments. Made me smile. Uh, I suppose, be fine with negative comments too. I'll learn to live with it whenever those first ones come along. Uh, Man, probably the same trend has been going along in the country, so might as well not talk about the negative. Let's focus on the positive. I've been blasting Kendrick Lamar's album on pretty much on repeat since it came out, but it seems that when I look at it, it was put on pace kind of to complete his pattern, which seems to be putting things out whenever Drake is putting something out and then completely squashing it, or Big Sean for that matter. Because the last time Big Sean happened to put out any albums, it was along the lines of him trying to establish himself and reestablish himself. Last time being when he was with Ariana Grande. And the last time the Pimp Butterfly came out and very much squashed it immediately after he released the album. So I think perhaps if Kendrick Lamar were to do it, say, a third time in a row, a year, 2 years down the road, he probably has the crown for this generation's Jay-Z, if that makes any sense. Speaking of Jay-Z, 444 came out, and like most people, I don't have Tidal, so I'm going to be waiting until it comes along on Apple Music before I go along and get a good listen to it. But it's been getting very good reviews. As a matter of fact, Kendrick Lamar himself tweeting on it. Very positive vibes, so one can only hope that it's going to be a good listen. Now, that doesn't mean that people don't hate it, but that comes with the territory. And if it's anything close to or better than Magna Carta, I'm looking forward to it because that's one of my top favorite albums. Blueprint is certainly higher up there, but I enjoyed the hell out of Magna Carta. Loved it. Which gets me going to more other things. There should be more craft to music because he very much could have went the same route as all the other old rappers trying to appeal to this new generation of saturated rap, not really trying or whatnot. But he didn't do that. He stayed true to the art and substance of what hip hop / rap really is, and I definitely respect that. What I wish would happen more is that the younger artists would look at that and take note, realize that there's more to having a career than just giving masses a formulaic process and hoping that it equals to a career, and then maybe being able to equal yourself along lines with the greats as well. There's a reason that Jay-Z and your Lil Waynes and your Biggies, your Pacs, they're on legendary status because they handled a very large amount of tasks, Herculean tasks, trials that they were able to stand their careers on and be able to become in those successes legends, each in their own way. But very much they've had pretty much along the same trials of, say, songs that make you wish that you were from a city that they're from. That's pretty much a trapping of what a legendary artist should be able to say that they've done. Have multiple classic albums. That's something that a legendary artist should be able to say that they've definitely done. Signature marquee tours that can be remembered. Something a legendary artist should be able to say they've done. Top three in their field, easily debatable, should be something a legendary artist can be able to claim. And these are all things that guys coming up in this new generation don't really seem to be particularly focused on or worried about. And it's sad because the people that benefit from this are the fans, the artists. I remember coming up and enjoying the great quality of music and aspiring, thinking if I would be able to do that same thing, or using the same music to push me and motivate me, get me through tough times. There's a lot of uses for music, which is why in frames and in tunes, people end up feeling and loving music. You know, you see an artist, if you or you think if you happen to see an artist sometime in the future or ever in life, you see them, tell them how much you love their song and what it's done or what it's meant to you. That's a real legitimate thing that you can actually share with somebody. And seeing something like that squandered for obviously the take on the money is a little bit disappointing. It seems more prevalent in today's society coming up with artists. Hip hop seems to get a lot of flack, but I mean it's present everywhere. I wish I wish there was a lot more equality across the board, but hey, so be it. Things are getting better, but it would be nicer for them to move on a quicker timeline. Speaking of things moving on a quicker timeline, I enjoy knowing what's going on in the world around me, being up in the up, whatever the phrase is, on the up, on the up and up, on the up and up. I like being on the up and up about what's going on around me and the new developments around the world, but I find it problematic whenever the sources that I'm trying to get my information from are either pushing a narrative or have no integrity. Integrity is supposed to be important to the people that are consuming the source. And that's the lifeblood of what drives all of our industries right now. I mean, people make the demand for there to be supply in the first place. So that's where your allegiances should lie. But it would seem that most media outlets really don't care about that anymore. I remember growing up, being in New York, trying to figure out what was between right and wrong, and you quickly figure out that your sentiments that you feel inside aren't always being reflected in the sources that you're trying to validate and relate with. So the newspapers that you're trying to find some kind of relation with to understand the decisions that you may or may not be making in real life have no kind of relation to you, and it sucks. It's kind of gotten a lot bigger over these years. It's more tailored toward the big talking points that each side has now, and it's not really about what matters to the people that are supposed to be consuming the material. For example, there should be a lot more news or information about health, welfare, healthcare. I mean, but mostly we carry a lot of taboo, tabloid topics, and we shouldn't be so worried about the president's tweets, I'll say that much. What if we just went to acting as we did last year, when somebody's tweets really didn't matter in the first place? There's still an opportunity to get things done within the government, society. There's so much that can be done. But getting caught up in distractions, it's not only the easiest way to lose a battle / war, it's what people that use distractions want in the first place. So there's pretty much no point in giving it any credence. That being said, gotta positive that up because it is the summer, and while it is so hot, it's also the summer, which means that 4th of July is coming up, and there should be a lot of interesting and amazing things going on in the country. A lot of great shows of patriotism, and I hope there's going to be a lot of people showing the different ways that Americans can love their country and be counted and shown as Americans too. I mean, we've had a lot of issues as of late, people being polarized and separated from one another, but really we can come together during a really amazing time that should be good for the country's history, and perhaps make something positive for each and every single one of us. That'd be nice. So if I controlled my own news outlet, I would say I probably run it like the closest thing would be the Young Turks. I do love those guys and what they're generally about. They're not perfect, but no one really is. What I admire about the Young Turks is their integrity in general, as in left or right. The right and wrong between a problem is going to be talked about. So right's doing something wrong, right and wrong. Left is doing something wrong, right and wrong. And those are the two things that are going to be talked about no matter what. Now, from time to time I feel that people need to broaden their opinions. They do have slightly monolithic viewpoints, but they do, at the very least, listen and keep an open dialogue. So nothing bad can be really spoken about that. What needs to happen, I would say, is there be commitment and allegiance to going out, finding the information that matters to people, that is going to affect people in the long run, and getting that information to them so that they can be well prepared and be able to control and affect their lives in a better way than they've been able to. I mean, it's clear that the system that's been made right now is so that all the best interests that pay for distractions and strengthening of systems that don't work for middle class folks or lower than middle class folks continues to stay in place. So it's imperative that people with better access and uh, opportunity to knowledge now actually find different separate ways to break whatever ridiculous cycle. This video started off on a different tip, but you know what? It kind of got here. It happens. It's ADHD. Hello. Um, yeah, music, media, civic cooperation. Sure. July 2nd. That's how I'm feeling, I guess.